Hi guys, so welcome to In My Beauty Bag, the beauty of building a business with balance. I'm your host, Yamina Childress, entrepreneur, mom, lover of all things beautiful, and a expert coach in mindful business building. So before we jump into episode 6, I want to do a quick recap of episode 5. So if you listened in, we talked about pricing strategies, ways that you can price your products and services so that you continue to build a profitable business, not just business that generates revenues, but one that actually gives you a profit in order to scale. Today, we're going to dive into something that separates struggling entrepreneurs from thriving ones, and that is systems. So if you feel like you're constantly putting out fires or you never have enough time in the day to get all of those things done and to wear all of your hats, this episode is for you. So let's go ahead and jump into why systems matter. One thing I have learned over the 20 plus years of being an entrepreneur, and really much more so in recent years, is working in your business versus working on your business. And for instance, that's like the technician versus the CEO mindset, right? A lot of things that we talk about are like mindset shifts. And this technician versus CEO came from the book The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. But it's something that we talk about as business owners, especially when you're at the stage of growing and scaling, being able to not be the technician in the business, but to actually turn yourself into that CEO that you are working to be. So, for an example, a hairstylist. A hairstylist, we all know, is someone who, does hair. This hairstylist may be the best in their area. They have clients that are booked all day. Their day is completely full with new clients. They may even charge higher than a lot of hairstylists in their area because they're very sought after, because they do really great work. And they're doing all the things, they're doing hair all day. So that's a technician. They're a master at what they do. But the difference between that hairstylist being a technician and that hairstylist being the CEO is the CEO would be the one who builds a salon empire using not only the skills of doing hair, but processes in order to help that hairstylist grow a scalable business. And they'll use that to do things like hire new stylists, actually build out the salon and be able to replicate that salon across different areas, be able to market and use AI and automations. And so they're thinking about that salon business as an empire, as an actual business, and not just a technician doing the work of hairstyling. There are consequences of not having systems in place. And so if you are just starting, you may have not experienced all of them, but at some point you will experience the consequence of not having business systems in place. And so the best thing to do is to build those systems out sooner rather than later. And I wish I had someone to tell me that in my early years of entrepreneurship, that I shouldn't just be planning on doing these things alone, is that I should be planning on building teams and processes that help me grow and thrive. Because some of those the consequences are, first of all, bottlenecks. And that's when everything in that business depends on you, right? You're wearing all of the hats. And if you don't do the work, nothing moves forward without you. So you're the marketing expert, you're the CEO, you're the social media strategist, you're the salesperson, you're making product formulations, you're doing all of the things to keep this business running. You're labeling products, you're fulfilling everything. You're just doing all of the things. And while at the beginning when you're small, you're able to do those things because maybe you have a smaller flow, that process cannot be replicated at scale, right? In order to be able to do that, you'll need more people, you'll need more, automatic systems, even things like AI to help you scale those processes in order to grow. Because, the truth is you cannot build a business by yourself. And no matter what people say, most people are not self-made. They normally have some people and processes to help them along the way. Another consequence is burnout. So, in every episode, we talk about mindfulness and the importance of being mindful with your time, your energy, and because it supports your mental, emotional, and physical health. But if you're burnt out, it also will hinder your decision making capacity. It'll hinder your creativity. And then you just can't be at the top of your game. So you're constantly making decisions on repeatable tasks that drain your energy, right? And you don't really have to do those tasks that you do every day by hand or manually. You can create some systems and processes in order to help you along the way. And even, that made me delegating some of those tasks. And then the ultimate consequence is your loss of revenue. And so just think back to the hairstylist. A hairstylist, let's say in the hairstylist day, they can book, 4 to 10 clients depending on how many hours that a service takes. And that they can make, a set amount of money in that day. But at some point, the stylist has to stop to eat, to sleep, to rest, right? They have to take off. Maybe they have an emergency. Maybe they have to pick their kids up from school. Maybe they're just mentally drained that day. Whenever they're not available, that is potential revenue lost. But what if there was a system in place within that business where they don't have to be 100% of the business? They can have other stylists. They can do some email, marketing automations. Maybe they can use social media, maybe have a virtual assistant, different strategies in place so that if they are not in the equation, the business will continue to run and thrive. And that's the goal, so that you don't lose that revenue when you sleep. I know we all heard that saying, making money in your sleep, and that's really how you become rich. And so you really have to start thinking about your business and your growth being able to make the money while you're asleep, meaning while you're away from the actual work. Some of the real world examples of successful businesses systems in action are things like, for instance, McDonald's. Every burger in McDonald's is made the same way globally. So if McDonald's sells a Big Mac in Georgia, the Big Mac in New York is the same Big Mac, or in California is the same Big Mac, right? I remember I used to work at McDonald's when I was younger, very first job, and even though I wasn't a cook for my regular job description, everybody who came into McDonald's had to learn all of the tasks at McDonald's. And so I learned how to prepare, a burger. And what they have in place is right at the stations, they have written and visual elements showing that cook exactly how to prepare that burger, from, laying the burger onto the paper, putting the patty on first, and then, this topping, this topping, this topping. They show you step by step. And what that does is help the next new hire come in and know exactly how to make the burger. They don't have to, try to retrain them on that, or, accidentally tell them different information, because everybody is getting the same information. And that's because they have the systems in place. And this consistency has made McDonald's, of course, a billion-dollar brand, because people can rest assured that if they want a Big Mac, if they want a quarter pounder, that they're going to get the exact same one no matter which McDonald's that they go to. Because we all know we've gone to certain restaurants that may have a chain and they don't have those systems. And one day you go, the food tastes this way, and then you go a week from now or another location and you can tell it's a different cook. We don't want that, because when we like certain things, we want to keep it that way, right? And so that's where those systems come into place. But think about Amazon. And so when you're thinking, those are, McDonald's is about the people power. But if you think about Amazon, Amazon is all about automation. It uses AI. And this is what helped it build a business where logistics and efficiency were able to help them scale. So for instance, if you shopped on Amazon, which many of us do, you shop on Amazon, you're looking for red lipstick. Amazon has AI features and different search features built into their system, where if you look for red lipstick, it's going to pull you up red lipstick from so many different brands in order to help you find the right product, right? These are systems, internal systems built into the Amazon marketplace. But then they also have systems that once you order it, it triggers to their warehouse to help them fulfill so that they can ship it to you in your 2-day time frame. If you've seen like on the news or in articles, they also have even things like robots that help them fulfill orders. And so they use AI and automation throughout their supply chain, throughout their business model. And this is what helps Amazon scale, being a number one retailer without having to have a store, right? And so that's really an amazing way to use systems to scale. But I know you're thinking, especially if you're a small business or even a solopreneur, how do these things help you when you don't have access to, billion-dollar systems like people like Amazon and McDonald's? Well, think about me. Think about, I've told you that I'm the owner of Yanni Beauty and just a very small team, right? We still need to automate and build processes. And so one of the things we do, we have processes for hiring. And so when we hire, let's say, a new service professional, an esthetician, they already have an onboarding document that comes to them that has all of our facials, exactly the products you use, and the exact steps, ensuring that every esthetician is going to do the exact same facial job for the customer. But if you look on our back ends or in our internal systems, we use systems like Shopify in order to sell products internationally, right? And so we have those systems built in where a customer can go and shop online. Shopify will automatically send us an email telling us that a customer has ordered. And when we go in there to fulfill the orders, it automatically sends a customer an email letting them know that their order has shipped with the tracking number already inside. We've created the automation so we don't have to send emails separately every time a customer orders. So even if at a small business, you can think about ways that you can automate and put business processes in now that help you moving forward. Or even just like emails to potential customers and clients. Maybe you have an email that goes out to all your customers, for instance, when their birthdays comes up. We like to send them a discount code. That's automated. And so as soon as a customer puts their birthday in, the automation creates a workflow that allows an email to go out during their birthday month to give them that discount, right? And so some of these things we don't have to, as a very small business, think about every single day because we have created some systems and automations in order to help us do that without having to think about it. So the essential business systems that I think every entrepreneur needs, and this doesn't matter if you're a service-based business or a product-based business, you need some form of sales and lead generation tools. You want to be able to capture leads so that you could get customers interested, right? So for instance, you want a lead magnet. At Yanni Beauty, we have what we call the Yanni Beauty Lounge. And when someone expresses interest, they sign up for the Yanni Beauty Lounge, it shows them on that landing page what they'll get. Like they'll get access to a free beauty guide, or they'll get a free gift, or, something that's going to be exclusive to them joining. And so it encourages them to join the VIP lounge. We don't have to go in manually to do so because they'll see it on a landing page. They'll put their email in, and then the automation triggers the access to this VIP lounge where they can download their free guides. I mean, you could do this in a service-based business. Maybe you've created an ebook that you use as a lead magnet. So when people go to your landing page and they put their email in, an email automation automatically sends them the ebook, but it also creates a email sequence that talks more about your business, talks more about your services, maybe every other day, so that you're always top of mind. And this really helps you kind of nurture those new leads so that you can, continue to bring in new people, but you can also nurture your current customers or clients with different strategies as well. Another tool is a client and customer management tool. So things like the things that create the smooth customer experience, right? And so let's say you're a service-based business and you need someone to book your service. The old times where we would call and what's your schedule, or send an email and say, hey, when are you available? Then I'll see when I'm available. And then we're going back and forth in email. Now we can just send a link, right? And say, this is my calendar. Pick a time on my calendar, because ahead of time you've already said I'm available. And so now they can kind of self-schedule their meeting with you, even, having systems that accept payments up front for you, so that you don't have to worry about invoicing afterwards. So you definitely want to have some kind of client and customer management system to help you ensure that the client has a smooth experience, because we know the more times you have to go back and forth over the same things, the easier it is for the client to drop off at some point. They'll drop out of your funnel, and that's not what you want. And then you want to add in things like operation and workflow technology. So that's the difference between hiring and training versus, without them. So if you have something like standard operating procedures or your SOPs. So if you are training or you're hiring, do you have a system in place that you already have the questions that you ask during a interview, or even before the interview? What do you use to post your open job roles? Maybe you're using something like Indeed, and then it automatically sends them your schedule to schedule an interview, and then you already have your interview questions that you use each time, so that you're not trying to think of new interview questions every time you have a new person interested in the role, right? And so you want to be able to have those processes and those SOPs available so that you can have that flow going. Or another example is if you have like a social media virtual assistant and they're managing your social media, and you have an idea of the content you want, but that virtual assistant knows about your business, but they're not in your head, right? And so maybe you can do something like create a checklist of what you want in this content. You can create your color chart to show that these are the colors I use. This is the font I use. So to be sure that your assistant is always doing the content in the way that you like, so they don't have to keep going back. Can you approve this? Can you make an edit? Approve this, make an edit. Because all that is doing is taking away from your time of building your business, working on your business versus in your business. And then you want to have some financial systems. If you are anything like me, the financial thing is just the worst part. But we really want to know about our profits and our cash flows. So even if you use something simple like QuickBooks or Xero, you want to make sure you have some kind of accounting software available to you. That way you can see what you're making, how your cash flow looks. If you have the ability to hire a new person, or if you need to scale back on something, you can see exactly how your cash flows are looking. This really gives you the idea to do a profit first business versus a revenue business, right? Because we can make, you've probably heard people who have, made $2 million. But what you don't know is that they spent $22,500,000 of that on advertising. So they really are operating at a negative, right? They're not making a profit because they're spending more money on expenses than they're actually making. And so being able to monitor your cash flows really help you focus on profits and not just revenues. And then finally, you want to get some marketing systems. So I know we talked about that, but think of things like content batching. So this is, for me, something that I had to really stop with my team and implement, and that's really batching content ahead of time. So for instance, take one day out of your week and you and your team go in and you just create content. So whether it's social media content, maybe you do something on YouTube, maybe you have a podcast, record a month worth of this content or written content up front. So if you do blogs or newsletters, you do it a month in advance. So then you can automate the push out of these things. And then for a whole month, you don't really have to worry about is your content being consistent? Has it gone out on time? And so that was really something that I always have to like go back to, make sure your content batching, do it ahead of time. Even for this podcast, like I wanted to drop weekly, make sure you're doing it in advance so that you're not constantly like, oh shoot, I didn't, record the content, right? Because I mean, life happens, and we may just, feel under the weather. Maybe we just don't have the time or the mental capacity to do something. But if it was done before and we've automated that, then we're good to go. So the next part I want to talk about is how to implement these systems without overwhelm. Each week, I, challenge you to do something in your business that will take you to the next level. And this week, we're going to implement some tasks that help us with our time management, but we're going to start small. So this is the time to get your notebook out, and I want you to write down 3 of the tasks. Really think about 3 tasks that you do every single day or almost every single day manually, right? You're doing this by hand, whether it's sending out marketing emails, whether it's posting on social media, sending out invoices, whatever it is that you do in your business every single day. Pick 3 of those things. And then out of the 3, I want you to choose the one that you can automate. So if you can automate invoicing, I want you to do that starting this week. Look at some systems where you can, that can help you automate your invoicing, right? And so be sure that whatever it is that you do is something that you do regularly, and pick the one that you can create, find a system that's already created that help you automate that. Some of the tools that I've seen, and none of these are recommendations for any tool, just to give you an idea. Maybe you use something like Asana for your task management. So if you have tasks, it helps you, lay out your tasks for you and your team. If you do client or onboarding, maybe you can do something like Honeybook. And then use for like emails. Maybe you use OmniSend to send out email marketing, or even built-in email marketing tools in your, Shopify or Wix or whatever web hosting service you have. And then finally, I want you to decide if you need to delegate this work or can you automate this work. And the way to help you identify delegation versus automation is to, if you want to delegate, does this task require a creative brain? Does it require creativity for someone to think outside the box? Or does it require things like relationship building? Like, is it a salesperson? Is it social media where you're engaging with other people? We've all seen on social media where it was a chat bot making a response because it was so generic and it was not like what a human would say. If you're in any of those spaces, any of those tasks that you're doing, those are the tasks that you need to delegate. So delegate it to your assistant, another person in your company, a virtual assistant, but make sure you're delegating those tasks that you can, that really require that human touch. And then if it's something repetitive like email marketing, invoice reminders, calendar links, then you can automate those things, right? You don't really need a human touch. You can have a system automate those things for you to save you time and energy. So some of the key takeaways, I just want you to really understand that systems are made to create freedom for you, because as entrepreneurs, we're usually building a business for the freedom to answer a customer pain point, but we cannot do it alone. So we have to be able to delegate and automate. And so these systems really help you create that freedom that you're looking for ultimately, whether that's freedom in time, mental capacity, you want to spend more time with your family, you want to make more money to travel, whatever that freedom is, these systems will help you get there. The more structure you have in the business, the more room you have to work on your business and to scale that business. Be sure to identify that one system that you can improve this week. So which system that you do every single day that you can either delegate or you can automate. Remember, so whether it's social media, whether it's invoicing, whatever it is, either delegate it or automate it this week. And before you go, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. So whether you're listening to it on your favorite podcast platform or even on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and leave a comment or review, because this really, I want to engage with you, but I also want to know other things that you want to hear on the podcast. What business and mindfulness tools do you need to help you succeed? And then finally, be sure to share this with all of your entrepreneur friends, right? So if you are in a space with other emerging founders and aspiring entrepreneurs and they can use some of this information, be sure to share. No gatekeeping around here. And then be sure to join the conversation. So if you have not joined the entrepreneur circle, you can make sure that you reach out so you can join us. We're entrepreneurs. We share information. We talk. We actually build community. So until next time, I will see you in the beauty bag. This is Yamina signing off.